Australia stands out as the ideal destination for those seeking a fresh start and a stable life. So with its strong economy, abundant prospects and serene surroundings, Australia can offer an idyllic heaven for your new journey. Hello and welcome to Edutrainex, one of the best online platforms for PTE preparations. I am Nandini Vats and today I'll be telling you about the visas that can lead to permanent residency in Australia, Part 1. So watch the video till the end to avoid missing any details and information. And if you want to know in detail about permanent residency visas, its eligibility criteria, cost, processing time, etc., you can watch my video. I'll put the link in the description below. So certain visa holders in Australia are granted Australian permanent residency, which offers various privileges to them. So Australia presents several immigration pathways including family, work, business, special eligibility and child stream permanent visas. So in this video, I'll talk only about the family stream visas. So let's get started. The first visa that falls under family stream visa is Australia Offshore Migrant Partner Visa. So this subclass 100 partner visa is the second and final step towards becoming a permanent resident of Australia. See what happens with the other Australian partner visas, that you have to apply for the subclass 100 visa, which is a permanent one, at the same time as you apply for subclass 309 visa, which is a temporary one. So you'll get the temporary visa first, and 2 years after you travel to Australia, you can finally get the permanent visa. So before getting the permanent residency, you'll have to submit a few other documents, but you don't have to pay any other processing fee. So the reason that you'll have to apply for both visas simultaneously, but do not get the permanent one until much later, is because the Australian government wants you to truly have close ties with Australia before you become a permanent resident. Then there is the Australian Partner Visa Subclass 801, which is a permanent resident visa. With this one, you can work, study, travel, and even apply for Australian citizenship later on. So just like Offshore Migrant Partner Visa Subclass 100, the 801 visa is the second stage to becoming a permanent resident. So before that, you'll have to apply for a temporary 820 visa. So from the moment you get the 820 visa, you'll usually have to wait for about 2 years before you become eligible for an 801 visa. However, you may be able to get the 820 and 801 visas at the same time if you and your partner have been together for at least 2 years, married or cohabitating, and have a child together. You and your partner have been together for at least 3 years, married or living together, and you do not have a child together. Now, if you have a child or children living in Australia, then you can apply for one of the parent visas for Australia to join them, and that is Subclass 103 visa. So it would allow you to live in Australia permanently, and you can even apply for Australian citizenship in the future. The only drawback with this visa is that it takes a very long time to process. The next one is similar to the Subclass 103 visa. If you want to live with your child in Australia, you can apply for the Contributory Parent Visa Subclass 143. This visa will also give you the right to permanent residence. Moving ahead, there are two types of Contributory Aged Parent Visas, Subclass 884, which is a temporary, and Subclass 864 visa, which is permanent. So they are called Contributory Parent Visas because the visa fee is very high, around 40,000 Australian dollars. So the benefit of these visa types is that they are processed much quicker than non-contributory aged parent visas, which can take up to 30 years. However, if you do not wish to wait, you can also apply for the 864 visa directly. Next is Remaining Relative Visa, Subclass 115 and 835, which is a permanent family visa, which you can apply for if you have a close family member living in Australia. The two conditions should be met for this visa. First is that your family member must sponsor you to get this visa, and the second is that you'll have to prove your familial relationship with your sponsor. Next is Aged Dependent Relative Visas, Subclass 114 and 838. So this visa is a family permit that is issued to aged relatives of Australian residents or citizens so that they can come to Australia. To get this visa, you must truly dependent on your family member in Australia, either financially, physically, or mentally. So next visa is a carer visa, which is a permanent family visa. You can apply for it if you want to take care of a relative that requires medical or physical assistance. It has two subclasses, subclass 116 and subclass 836. To get this visa, you must have an eligible sponsor in Australia who genuinely needs your assistance. Then there is Australia Child Visa. It is a family visa issued to children whose parents or legal guardians are living in Australia. For this visa, you'll have to sponsor your child so that they can apply. And to have a valid sponsorship, you must be an Australian citizen, permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealand citizen. Now, if you are an Australian citizen or permanent resident and want to adopt a child from another country, you'll have to get them an adoption visa, subclass 102. And the last one in family stream visas is an orphan relative visa. It is a permanent permit that allows children to join their family members in Australia who will be legally responsible for their well-being. So to get this visa, the child's parents must be either dead, unable to provide care for them, or missing. So there is an important condition for this visa that if you are sponsoring a relative to get the orphan relative visa, your relative has to submit evidence that they genuinely need you to care for them and when they apply for the visa. So my dear friends, that was all about family stream visas that will help you get the permanent residency in Australia. Stay tuned for part 2 of this video where I'll tell you about the work stream visas, business and investment visas and other visas that will lead you to permanent residency. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.